30 years ago, their love shocked the world. A rich businessman with a broken heart, and a woman who came from nothing but had a soul full of dreams. Edward Lewis and Vivian Ward were never supposed to fall in love. Their worlds were too different. Their rules were too opposite. Yet somehow, love still found them. They held hands against the wind, smiled in the storm, and believed in each other when no one else did. They proved that love is not written by fate, it is chosen by the heart. But time can change everything. When their story ended, people called it a fairy tale. Two people found love against all odds and rode off into forever. But forever is not a straight road. Life tested them. Fame knocked on their door. Money pulled them in two different directions. Dreams grew, but so did fear. Love is powerful, but so are doubt and ego. And in the quiet moments between sunrise and goodbye, they lost each other. Edward did not become the romantic hero the world imagined. Yes, he built more companies, bought more buildings, and became richer than ever, but his success came with loneliness. He learned how to run businesses, but he never learned how to save a relationship. He once said he never climbed any walls, he always took the elevator. But love is not like business deals. You cannot buy it. You cannot plan it. You must fight for it. And Edward stopped fighting. Vivian's story became something beautiful, just not the story people expected. She did not stay in Edward's shadow. She found her own path. She used her light to help women who once stood in the same darkness she escaped. She built a charity that gave hope to those who had lost it. She became a symbol of strength, kindness, and grace. But even strong hearts carry silent pain. She stopped believing in true love not because she wanted to, but because life taught her not to trust promises. Years passed. The city changed. People changed. Love stories were forgotten. Their story became just another rumor whispered sometimes, remembered rarely. Until one day, something unexpected happened. Something that would bring them back to the same city, under the same sky, at the same moment. It was not fate. It was not magic. It was life, reminding them that even broken hearts deserve one more chance. And this, is where their story begins again. Edward stood alone in his office on the top floor of a glass tower in New York. His eyes looked out over the busy city, but his mind was lost in the past. A small picture sat on his desk, worn by time. It was of a woman smiling in the sun, hair wild from the wind. Vivian, the only woman who ever saw his heart. He touched the frame gently, like it was something fragile. Regret lived in his eyes. He had everything a man could want except peace. Except love. He had not seen Vivian in years. Not since the day he chose business over her. Not since the day she walked away to save herself. He never stopped thinking about her, but he told himself it was too late. She deserved better. She deserved someone fearless. Someone whole, but even if he tried to run from his past, love had plans of its own. One single envelope would change everything. One invitation would bring two hearts back into the same story. Inside the envelope were 5 words written in gold. Hope Lives Gala, Los Angeles. A charity event, Vivian's charity event. Edward froze. Memories rushed back. The laughter, the fights, the moments of truth between them. He closed the envelope and exhaled slowly. Fate was giving him a doorway. But would he walk through it? They once believed love could fix anything. But now, after all these years, the question was no longer can love last? The real question was, can love return? Some doors close once, others close twice. But the hardest are the doors we close on our own hearts, because we fear what waits behind them. The night of the Hope Lives Gala was wrapped in gold and starlight. Outside the Grand Hall in Los Angeles, cameras flashed, voices echoed, and the famous and powerful walked across the red carpet. But inside, something far more important was happening. A night of charity, a night of hope, a night built by one woman whose past did not define her, but shaped her strength. Vivian Ward, dressed in an elegant black gown. She moved through the room with grace, not the shy girl from years ago, but a woman who built herself from dust and dreams. People respected her. They admired her story. But what no one could see was the quiet loneliness behind her smile. She could inspire thousands, yet no one knew that she still searched for something missing. something she once had but lost. As she greeted guests and shook hands, her mind was not fully there. She felt something tonight, a strange feeling like the universe was whispering in her ear, a feeling that something was coming, something big. She didn't understand it, so she brushed it away. Across the city, a black car rolled silently through the streets. Inside sat Edward Lewis, holding the invitation in his hand like it weighed 1,000 pounds. This wasn't business. This wasn't about money, this was personal. It terrified him. What am I doing here? He thought. She has moved on. She's happy. I'll ruin everything just by being there. His driver spoke softly, pulling him from his thoughts. Sir, we're here. Edward stared at the entrance of the hall. Fear burned in his chest. Fear of rejection, fear of regret, fear of the truth. But deeper than fear was longing. He stepped out of the car. Inside, the event carried on, music played soft strings. People laughed over champagne. Speeches echoed beyond crystal chandeliers. But when Edward entered, the room seemed to pause, not because people recognized him, but because fate had just taken a seat among them. He walked slowly, unsure of every step, yet drawn by something he could not resist. His eyes scanned the room until he found her across the hall, under warm light, surrounded by admirers, but alone in spirit. Just like him. Vivian did not see him yet. She was busy accepting praise, shaking hands, thanking donors. But when she turned, her smile faded, not from sadness, but shock. There he was, Edward, the man she once loved. The man she once waited for. The man she finally let go of. For a long, heavy moment, they simply stared at each other. No one else in the room existed. Time did not move. Their eyes held everything they could not say, years of silence, unspoken pain, and a question neither dared to ask. Why are you here? Edward wanted to walk to her, wanted to speak, but he didn't know what to say. Hi, no, that was too small. I've missed you. Too heavy. I'm sorry. Ironic. Because some wounds do not heal with simple words, Vivian was the first to break the moment, but not with words. She turned away. She walked to another table. She avoided him. The man who could close million-dollar deals without blinking suddenly felt powerless. He had come all this way, across years and mistakes, and she wouldn't even speak to him. He took a breath and moved toward her. She walked faster. He followed. She escaped into a quiet hallway behind the main room. He caught up. Vivian, he finally said, voice low, unsure. Just her name. But that single word carried memories. She stopped, shoulders tense. Slowly, she turned. You shouldn't be here, she said calmly. Her voice was stronger now, controlled, but beneath it something trembled. I know, Edward said. Then why are you? He swallowed. He had 100 reasons. None of them sounded right. So he told the truth, because I had to see you. She stared at him, not with anger, but with disbelief. After all these years? After everything that happened, you just show up? This wasn't about showing up, he said. This was about not staying gone. Vivian's eyes softened for a moment, but walls rise quickly when hearts are in danger. This is my life now. Edward, she said, I built it without you. I know, he replied. And it's beautiful. A silence stretched between them. Then she said something he didn't expect. This isn't a fairy tale anymore. Edward stepped closer, voice quiet. Maybe it never was, maybe it was real. She looked at him for a long time, then turned away. Enjoy the evening, she said. She walked back into the lights, into the applause, into the life she created. Edward watched her go, not knowing that this simple reunion had already awakened something in both of them, something they thought was gone forever. But love, real love, never dies. It waits, it watches. And sometimes it returns when we least expect it. Asterisk, some people walk back into your life for a reason. Some for a lesson, and some because they never truly left your heart. The night of the gala ended, but something had begun. Neither Edward nor Vivian would admit it, but their reunion had stirred old emotions and new questions. Edward returned to his hotel instead of flying back to New York. He told his assistant to cancel all meetings. He didn't explain because he couldn't. All he knew was that for the first time in years he felt awake and afraid. Because when love returns, It demands courage. Vivian tried to bury the encounter. She threw herself into work the next day, meetings for the charity, interviews, planning events. Her assistant noticed her distraction. "Are you okay?" she asked. Vivian forced a smile. "I'm fine," but she wasn't fine. Because no matter how hard she tried, Edward was still in her thoughts, like a song she once loved and thought she had forgotten. The truth she didn't want to face was simple: seeing him hurt. Not because she hated him, but because she told herself it didn't matter. He would leave soon. Her life would go on. What she didn't expect was that Edward wouldn't give up so easily. The next morning, Edward appeared at her office, not with flowers, not with apologies, but with something else: respect. He waited in the lobby. No demands, no pressure. Just waited. When she finally agreed to see him, she kept it professional. "You have 5 minutes," she said coldly. "I don't need 5, he replied. "I just want to help your charity," quietly. Vivian frowned. "Why? Guilt?" "No," Edward said. "Gratitude." He handed her a donation slip, but there was no amount written. "You fill it in," he said. "I trust you." Vivian looked at the check but didn't take it. "You can't just walk in here and buy forgiveness." "Who said I came for forgiveness?" She paused. "Then why are you here, Edward?" He hesitated, but said nothing. Some truths are too big for small rooms. Vivian turned away. "This changes nothing," she said. "I know," he replied softly. "But it changes something for me." That evening, the world reminded Vivian that life moves fast. Her fiancé, Thomas, a handsome and wealthy businessman, arrived from London. On paper, he was perfect, loyal, successful, safe. He offered a calm future. No chaos, no heartbreak. A life of routine, not risk. Vivian tried to believe that was enough. At dinner, she told him about seeing Edward. His reaction was instant. "He's dangerous," Thomas said sharply. "He ruins things." "Don't let him ruin this." "This?" she asked. "Our future," he said. "I won't let anyone come between us." His tone was possessive, cold, almost controlling. Vivian forced a smile, but doubt settled inside her. She had once mistaken control for love. She would not do it again. When Edward saw Vivian with Thomas at another charity board meeting, he understood. Vivian had moved on. He tried to step back, but destiny pushed forward. During the meeting, news broke: a scandal involving Thomas. A secret deal that stole funds meant for a children's medical program. Vivian was shocked. Thomas denied everything. Edward stayed silent, but he knew the truth. He had seen the contract. He had seen Thomas for who he really was. Vivian confronted Thomas later. "Tell me the truth," she said. "Did you take that money?" He grabbed her arm, not with love, but anger. "You're questioning me now? After he shows up? You think he cares about you? You're a project to him. A memory. I'm your future." Vivian pulled her arm back. Her voice was steady. "If I have to choose between truth and you, I choose truth." She walked away. That night, rain fell over the city. Vivian stood outside alone, hurt not just by Thomas, but by life again testing her heart. Edward found her on the rooftop of the Gala building where they first met long ago. He didn't speak at first. He simply stood beside her, letting the silence say what words could not. "He lied to me," she whispered. Edward nodded. "I'm sorry." "I wasn't talking about Thomas," she said. Her voice broke. "I was talking about you?" Her eyes filled not with weakness, but with a flood of emotion long buried. "Why did you come back?" she asked. "To remind me what pain feels like? To show me what I lost?" Edward finally spoke the truth he had carried for years. "No, I came back because I realized something. I spent my whole life buying things I didn't need, chasing things that didn't matter, and losing the only thing that ever felt real. I didn't come to win you back. I came to say, I never stopped loving you. Not for a day." Vivian closed her eyes. She had waited years to hear those words, but she was afraid. Afraid to hope again. Afraid to fall twice. "Love isn't enough," she whispered. "No," Edward agreed. "It isn't, but honesty is. Loyalty is. Choosing someone every day, that's love. And I choose you? If you don't want me in your life, I'll walk away. But I won't lie this time. I won't pretend I don't feel what I feel. Silence. A storm inside two hearts. A question without an answer, and just before she turned to leave, Vivian said softly, "Don't make promises you can't keep again." Edward looked at her steady. Honest, changed. "This isn't a promise," he said. "It's a beginning. Asterisk, no heart is too broken to feel again. No soul is too lost to be found again. But to love again? You must first choose courage over fear. Days passed after that rooftop conversation. Days of silence. Days of heavy thoughts. Edward did not chase Vivian. He did not send gifts or flowers. He did not beg, because love is not a war to be won. It is a truth to be honored, and real love gives space. Even when it hurts. Vivian kept her distance, not because she didn't feel anything, but because she felt too much. She spent long nights alone, looking out at the city lights, asking herself a question she feared. What if love does give second chances? She had built a strong life, a respected name, a future without fear. But strength doesn't fill the empty spaces of a quiet heart. Kindness doesn't hold you on a lonely night. Success doesn't laugh with you, or dream with you, or understand the parts of you that words cannot explain. Only love does that. And she had tasted that once with him. Still, pain is a powerful teacher. She remembered the past, the tears, the heartbreak. She was not the same girl who once believed love would magically fix everything. She was wiser now, and afraid of losing herself again. A letter never meant to be sent. One evening, Vivian found a letter slipped under her door. No name on the front, just her address. She opened it slowly. "Vivian, I don't want to disturb your life. I don't want to hurt you again. I just want to thank you. You taught me how to feel. You taught me that love is not about winning, it's about giving. I don't know where your heart is now, and I don't expect anything. If this is goodbye, then thank you. For everything." Edward, there was no plea, no request to meet. Just honesty. And somehow that made it harder to ignore. She folded the letter gently and held it against her chest. Something inside her shifted. This wasn't a man running away from love anymore. This was a man who had finally learned what love truly is, the last goodbye or something else the next day. Vivian heard news through mutual friends. Edward was leaving Los Angeles that night. His jet was scheduled to depart at 10 p.m., no drama, no noise. He was simply leaving, forever. Something in her broke open. She didn't plan. She didn't think. She felt. And sometimes the heart knows what the mind cannot understand. She grabbed her car keys and drove into the night. Rain poured down again, as if life was washing away everything that once stood between them. She reached the airport just as the engines of his jet began to power up. She ran across the private terminal, breathless, hair soaked, heart on fire. A guard yelled for her to stop, but love doesn't stop for rules. She pushed past and reached the runway just as Edward stepped toward the jet stairs. "EWRD!" she shouted. He turned. Shock froze him in place. Vivian walked forward, every step carrying the weight of years' regret, love, fear, hope, until she finally stood in front of him. No music, no crowd. Just two people who never stopped loving each other, even when they tried. He spoke first, quietly afraid. "I wasn't going to bother you again." "You didn't bother me," she said, breath shaking. "You changed me." He searched her eyes, looking for truth. "Is this goodbye?" She looked at him for a long time. Then she said the words she once believed she would never say again. "No, this is my choice." He stepped closer. "And what are you choosing?" Her voice softened. "You, not the man you were. The man you are now. A man who is finally brave enough to love." He exhaled, the pain of years dissolving. "I don't want a perfect love, Vivian. I just want a true one. I want the fights, the laughter, the late nights, the real life. I want every day with you." She smiled through tears. "Then don't leave." He reached out his hand, not a demand, but an invitation. "Only if you walk forward with me." She didn't hesitate. She took his hand, and just like that, two hearts that once broke found their way. Back home. Final message: love is not about fairy tales. It is not about perfect timing or flawless people. It is about two souls who continue to choose each other even after pain, even after mistakes, even after time tries to pull them apart. Some love stories don't end. They grow, they find their way back, because every love story deserves a second chance, especially the ones that never stopped living in our hearts.